very worn. And I put that on
Hi, everyone.
right next to my bed. And
Good morning.
And I would see that several times a day, numerous times a day.
It's
just to
Sunday
remember,
here
just
in
have that as an
Missouri.
encouragement. He endured and was faithful.
USA.
And Lord, let me be like Richard
and
Roman.
we're headed
So
to
being
church.
here is very emotional.
Is anything that you can... It's time check is 10:09 in the morning. It's Sunday, June
30th.
30th. So,
Well, good morning. We're on our way to church. Feels good this morning. I'm going to try to drive carefully here. Our drive to our church is about 10 kilometers, 6 miles. And so we're there. We're on time. It starts at 10:30, so it's 10:10 right now. We're on time. And of course, we're very blessed here in America, at least in some places. We have good, wide, smooth, clear highways. So you can drive in your car at 100 kilometers per hour. Okay? So 100 per hour is, and of course it's very different in places away from the city and cities and towns, just as it is different in the Philippines. We talk about a place, if it's an hour away, that means it's 100 kilometers away. But of course, an hour away in a rural place in the Philippines or in any country, an hour away might only be 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, because of the way because you have to drive a lot slower. Anyway, I hope that point is not too obvious, but it's just a different way of thinking about time and distance. If we talk in the U.S. as in terms of hours, how far something is away, usually we mean that, you're driving there and you're going 100 kilometers per hour.
yeah, but we use here miles.
We use miles, of course. I have enough experience. I can transfer back and forth. For instance, it's 77 degrees here Fahrenheit, and that equals to about 25, maybe 24 Celsius. There you go. And because of the little bit of traveling, I'm able to convert back and forth.
Of course, you're the army.
Yeah, the Army too. The Army uses meters, but they don't use Celsius degrees. They definitely use Fahrenheit degrees. That would confuse the soldier badly. Anyway, we're driving. Nothing is open really on the stores and the offices here on the highway.
As you can see, there's a lot of trees.
Yeah. It used to be all trees and hay fields and cattle pastures. But nowadays there are things built here by the highway in between the towns. We're going from Farmington to Park Hills. Our church, we live in Farmington, our church is in Park Hills. And so people build a lot of new businesses and their homes too. They build out of the city, out of the town, not in the town. And of course, there are a lot of houses in the town. People built there, but people that are building new houses now are building them out of the city, out of town usually. Let's see, we've passed a couple of churches already.
Yeah, there's a lot of churches.
Here's one more.
There's
One more if you want to look. There's a church and people are arriving there in their cars. That church is called Christian Life Church. And we're going to the Christian church that's in town, the Church of Christ that's in town in Park Hills. let's see what else to talk about here. I've been reading this morning in the book of Hebrews, and if I can put it maybe in one sentence, what I read is that they had the temple in the Old Testament. They had the temple and the tabernacle before that, and they gave sacrifices, and the priests went in and gave sacrifices for the sins of the people. And what the book of Hebrews says is that Jesus' sacrifice represents, the temple represents Jesus' sacrifice, but the temple and the tabernacle, the sacrifices in the Old Testament, they represented the reality of Christ going into the heavenly place and giving his sacrifice for our sins. Okay. The key word in the book of Hebrews is the word better. Jesus is the author, Christ is the author of a better covenant, a better transaction, a more permanent and eternal transaction with God. So anyway, that's my reading this morning of the book of Hebrews. Oh, the other thing we're passing is where they're selling fireworks.
Yeah.
Because on 4th of July, we set off fireworks. 4th of July, Independence Day for the United States. And we set off fireworks. And if you happen to know the American national anthem, it says, "And the rocket's red glare." And they could see from the rockets that are bursting at a battle, they could see that their flag was still up because it was dark at night, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rocket's red glare. Well, we took that one line, very seriously. We shoot off the rockets, fireworks. And so anyway, we'll see if we can see a tent, maybe, if there is one, a tent that has fireworks here in Park Hills. Mostly they're not in town, they're out of town. But anyway, we'll show you one if we get the opportunity. We just came off the highway. We're arriving in Park Hills, and we'll drive a little ways here, and the speed limit here is 30 miles per hour, which is how much? 50 kilometers?
50 kilometers.
Okay.
If you can elapse that, so it should be.
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to drive faster than that.
Or else you can have a ticket.
Yeah, they'll take some of your money.
And
They
plus,
will.
it's attached on your driver license, right?
That's true. That's true. If you get too many tickets, you might not be able to get insurance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. Or your license even could be suspended.
Oh.
Anyway, that's kind of how that works.
How long is it going to be suspended?
A year or 2 years, usually, and then sometimes it depends what you did. Depends what you did. As you can see, more buildings and more houses here in as we go into Park Hills, and we're arriving into more or less the center part of the town.
As I observe here in town that there's a lot of churches.
We have several churches in town. This is a town of about 9,000 or 10,000 people. And so not a huge town, but it's big enough to have, several churches. Not only Protestant, but Catholic also. Both.
Different kind of denomination.
Both kinds, yeah. And like, if you're familiar, a number of Protestant churches. They have different beliefs. Different beliefs from each other. They're mostly pretty similar. They're all Protestant, but only one Catholic church here in Park Hills. We're going uphill uphill. It's this. We're now coming into. Here's a church over here. It's in a brick building. It used to be a store. It used to be a
Oh.
grocery store.
Oh, I don't know. A long time ago, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that was built by the mining company. That building,
Ah.
that building was built by the mining company, and they used it, but it's not used for that anymore. It was a store for all the people who worked at the mining company.
I see.
As you can see, some people have their flag.
Mm.
That is the U.S. flag and the Missouri flag.
So this is new for me. Every state has their own flags.
Uh-huh.
Every state or every town, and also in the town.
Well,
No,
they can. Yeah, cities have a flag.
city has a flag too.
St. Louis has a flag, uh-huh.
Ah.
Of course, like the provincial flag, you would probably only see at the provincial offices in the Philippines. You'd only see that at their offices. But here, you might see the Missouri state flag along with the U.S. flag on people's homes in different places. Anyway, we're turning here onto the street where our church is.
Yes.
About 1 more kilometer from here, a little less than a mile, I think.
Another church here.
Mm-hmm. This one's called True Life Family Church. Smaller church. Our church is close to a park. Behind the church is a park that runs along the Flat River Creek, which is the large creek here in Park Hills.
Here's our church.
This is our church, the Church of Christ. Give you a chance to see that. This is a very nice van. It belongs to a friend of ours who is in a wheelchair. And he uses a wheelchair, but he's fortunate enough to have a van that he can ride his wheelchair.
It's a fancy one.
Yes, it is. It's very nice, and his insurance paid for expensive modifications in the van. So anyway, just to show you, he's a good friend of ours, and the van just he rides in a wheelchair, but he does everything. Not easy, but he does everything that he needs to do, and he's a great Christian man. He's really terrific. Anyway, we're here.
Filipino.
Yeah, he
Yes,
cares about the Filipino mission and
He
so
helped a
forth.
lot.
Mhm.
Filipino.
So we're here. We're going to walk in. We're about 10 minutes early, and it's good. It's been good to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed this video.
And also, don't forget to subscribe in my YouTube channel, Juliana White. Happy Sunday, and God bless us all.
God bless you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.